Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're talking about one of my favorite places in Mount Laguna, Monument Peak. That sounded weird. Monument Peak. Does that sound better? Anyways, today we're covering Monument Peak Trail. A very easy trail, very easy path. As always, let's cut into the B-roll and then we'll come back and talk about trail details, how to get there, and everything else you need to know. I have never paused the B-roll before, but one of the things I want to make very, very clear here is this specific part of the trail that I showed, there is no trail. You could be standing there and you look up and you're like, where's the trail? This part of the trail, and again, I've never interrupted the B-roll before, but I want to be very clear for those who don't watch the full video. There is no real trail here. You would have to just walk on plants up the mountain and then make a right to find yourself up to Monument Peak. What I would recommend is you actually just go back and make sure you stay on the right-hand side of this loop. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, but just know if you are planning on doing this, all trails is very deceiving, this little loop here. Again, there's no real trail. Let's go back to the video. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you noticed, that was a shorter video than most. The reason for it is this is a short hike. Now, if you've been on this channel for a while, you've seen that I've actually already covered Monument Peak via the PCT. This is called Monument Peak Trail. So let's talk about Monument Peak Trail, and then I'll talk about what the differences are. Monument Peak Trail is a 3.4 mile moderately traffic loop trail located near Mount Laguna. Features beautiful wildflowers, rated as moderate. This is not moderate. This is very, very easy. The only moderate part would be right at the very end, but it's paved, so you're fine. The trail is primarily used for hiking, walking, nature trips, and bird watching, accessible year-round. Dogs are also able to use this trail. It is dog-friendly and kid-friendly, although there are some parts that are extremely overgrown, so little ones may not be best on this trail. Just be aware of that. I tried to make sure I showed that in the video with the GoPro. It's just like, it's very, very in your face at some points. Overgrown in parts and hard to find the trail if you don't bring the app or offline map, but overall a nice little adventure with kids and dogs. Krista Millen here kind of touched on what I mentioned. Great views at the top. If you head left at the loop, you'll be in for a steep and rocky climb. If you head right, the trail isn't anywhere near as steep, but it's very overgrown with manzanita, so be prepared to get scratched up or rip clothing. Alright, so before I talk about trail differences and details, let's talk about how to get there. Very easy, you're on Sunrise Highway. You don't want to be on Big Laguna Trailhead. That's actually a slightly different way to enter into the same sort of PCT. They both lead up to the PCT here, but this specific trail that's 3.4 miles is on Monument Peak Road. Small little parking lot, dirt parking lot, that's where you'll be. So as you've seen here, many different ways to get to Monument Peak. Monument Peak via the PCT is one which I've covered. There's Monument Peak Road, and then there's Big Laguna Trailhead, along with the PCT that you can connect many different ways. So again, for this specific hike, Monument Peak Road. Once you're on that, very beautiful, lots of trees, a little bit of an incline, nothing too bad, until you meet up with the PCT. You want to make sure you make a left. Let's pull up the map on all trails. So you'll make a right, and then a left, and then just follow the trail up. Now, as I mentioned earlier when I interrupted the B-roll, if you make a left here, you're gonna have to make a right. When you make a right, there's no trail there. You can just head up the mountain, step where you can. Make sure you don't step on a rattlesnake. I don't recommend it. So you'll make a right and you'll just kind of go this way instead. You'll loop up to Monument Peak. And this is the part of the trail that's just extremely overgrown. Nothing much more to it than that. Make sure you have some hardy clothing with you just so you don't get anything ripped. And then the last part of this is paved, so pretty easy on your way up. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you have Monument Peak Trail, this one, and you have Monument Peak via the PCT. So if you're doing Monument Peak via the PCT, you'll be doing 5.3 miles. So it adds 2 extra miles to your hike. As I've always talked about on this channel, just depends what you want to do. If you're up for a 5-mile hike, beautiful hike by the way, I recommend this one via the PCT, it's beautiful. If you're trying to catch the sunset like I was, a 3.4 mile one is significantly easier to go back and hike back in the dark. And I'll leave it there. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/beautyiswild with 2 eyes, the YouTube channel at youtube.com/beautyiswild with 2 eyes, and the website at www.beautyiswild.com with 2 eyes. Stick around. Got so many more videos for you guys, so many trails to cover. So stay tuned.